But
Okay.
thank you very much once again for agreeing to be here on the Labrador Energy Podcast, Andra. If you have not listened to my podcast, which is not uncommon, many people have not. It's basically I try to talk to people from different parts of the world that have had basically Labrador energy experiences, which is that they've moved countries, they felt the need to walk away from everything they've known for their whole life and just experience new things, go exploring, just couldn't sit still. So they've ended up going to different countries, and they've experienced different things. They've changed jobs and so on and so forth. And then we kind of got to this place here because I was on my TikTok because you follow me on TikTok, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, so
I,
for
I
everybody,
I had to think about, am I following? Yeah, I'm following.
so for everybody that's not following me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. And we were just discussing before I clicked record about how you were getting your phone came pre-installed with TikTok, yes?
Yeah, that was funny. I
Which
was
is
like,
very
oh,
very very interesting, very aggressive of TikTok. Do you have like a Huawei phone or something, or is it no? It's Samsung. It said in the
yeah, I think it, yeah, I'm not a technology person. I got it for Christmas because my old phone was just, basically didn't work anymore because I dropped the phone like 100 times.
and you
This
were
one already has some cracks in it, but it's just the protector, so it's actually
mm,
not broken. But like after a week, it already
that's fine.
was
Mine was also broken. Basically, I have like I stopped getting iPhones because it was so expensive to fix them. So I have like a Google Nexus now because I kept dropping the fucking phone. But you were telling me that you were on TikTok and you were getting a lot of Romanian TikToks, which was interesting for you because
I don't
you.
know why, maybe because I signed up and you have like to choose some things,
Mhm.
but I never chose like Romanian stuff, but somehow maybe my name, I have no idea how the algorithm works, but there was just a lot of them and I thought it was very funny and interesting, but I don't know how I ended up on Romanian TikTok.
Do
Now I
you?
don't have it anymore for some reason.
Mhm.
I don't know why, it just doesn't show up anymore.
I think one of the reasons was
Now
because
it's a lot of millennial versus Gen Z stuff, which
ah,
makes me feel very old.
very interesting. I think one of the reasons why you were gotten the Romanian TikToks is because either you had a Romanian SIM. Is this the case? You have a Romanian SIM?
No,
Okay, or you logged in with your Facebook, and on your Facebook you have your place of birth as Romania, or something related to Romania on Facebook.
maybe, yeah, I think maybe that could be it because that's like about the only thing in my name that's really Romanian.
So just to kind of give people an understanding, so you're Romanian, but not really.
No, I am. I mean, it's weird. Let's just say it's weird. So I'm 100% Romanian, both of my parents, but I moved away when I was 10 years old.
Hmm.
And basically, I haven't visited Romania since I was 13,
Hmm.
and I'm 29.
Okay, congratulations. Very good. I'm 31 myself, so I
And
can.
my last year of my 20s, and I'm stuck in lockdown.
That's how that is exactly. I am in the first year of my 30s, and I'm also stuck in lockdown, and it's not fun.
Yeah,
But
it's like very weird.
wh-
I
where
must.
where are you from in Romania?
I'm having like a midlife crisis almost, or an existential crisis.
That is, I think you've passed the quarter life crisis. Now you are at third life crisis. Because like
Yeah, quarter life.
quarter life is like when
What?
you're quarter life crisis when you
25.
exactly. Now you're like one third life crisis.
Yeah, yeah, but I already had when I turned 25, I was like, yes, now it's downhill from here. I mean, now the wrinkles, white hair will start showing up, and I have to keep it together until I get to 30, and then afterwards, I don't care anymore.
Well, after 30, you start getting medical problems. So
Yeah, actually, that's why I can only do this until 11:45 because at 12 o'clock I have a doctor's appointment because my back hurts. So I have acupuncture
so there you go.
session.
That's the sign, man. Like I,
No,
I
my
also had
back actually hurts because of the lockdown.
I
Because I used to do more sports, like 4 or 5 times a week,
mhm,
like gym, training, normal, because I like to eat a
mhm.
lot, so I have to train a lot. And then the doctor basically said, yeah, because you only sit and watch TV basically, or just go jogging a couple of times a week, your body is used to more sport, more
Mhm.
muscles.
Yeah, yeah, must be. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have that anymore.
It's
So my back is now weakened basically because I was used to do more sports and now I don't. So
that is That is what's happened. It's happening now. Like I
I'm
also have to go
hearing.
to. I also have to go to the doctor last week because I had some stomach problems and try to figure out where they're from. So it's all downhill after 30. It really is after 30 is really where when it goes downhill. It's like a slide. Wee. But just to kind of restate. So like you're from Romania, but you don't speak. Well, you're no longer Romanian because you
But
lived
I
outside.
understand Romanian. I
Mhm.
understand almost everything. I think I can read, but the problem is I get very anxious when I have to speak it. It's my also my second coffee, and I drink like black coffee, so no sugar, no milk.
Mhm.
So I get very anxious because I don't have the vocabulary that I
Right.
would like to have in order
Mhm.
to express myself. And when I cannot express myself the
Mhm.
way I want to,
Mhm.
I feel very uncomfortable and I don't want to speak.
Right. Because
So
one of the reasons why we kind of started having this conversation in podcast is because I was doing a TikTok live and I was talking about, sometimes on my TikTok lives I talk about different things that I want to joke about and like different kind of social issues that I want to integrate in my comedy. And one of the things that I want to talk about was this piece of news where basically there was on the Deutsche Welt, which is like the German BBC, where they were talking about they're doing this study about like the concept of Euro orphans. Basically, children that are growing without their parents because their parents are leaving from Eastern Europe because they're going to different countries to work. And you were like, "That's me and all my friends." And I was like,
yeah, my cousins, me, basically everyone I know. It's not like I don't really know a lot of people, but I mean, I grew up like that. So my parents got divorced.
"Mhm,
It's like your typical Romanian story. I don't know how it's like playing into all the standards or stereotypes.
mhm,
So my mom went abroad to work, and I don't even really know how old I was.
mhm,
But so I basically stayed with my grandparents
mhm,
until I was 7, because then that's when she stopped going abroad, because she was like, oh, now you're going to school, so I have to be here because I wanted to get an education and be good in school and stuff like that. So yeah, and then she got remarried and stuff, whatever. But yeah, until I was 7, I basically lived with my grandparents. And
where in Romania?
Galați.
Galați, very close to Buzău, where I'm from. Very interesting. It's my understanding is I do this joke about how like in Buzău we're very popular because we have a McDonald's, and a lot of times people from Galați
Oh,
feel like
that was when I was small. I was like in school. I don't know, maybe first grade, second grade, something like that. And then a McDonald's was built, and like every kid was like, "Oh, I'm going to McDonald's. I'm going to McDonald's." Like I don't have that like scheduled, but my mom then, she actually took me there, and it was like going to McDonald's was like the best part. I love the burgers and the fucking slide. It was just one slide, not nothing special. But yeah, that was like, yay,
but it
McDonald's. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't eat McDonald's because if I eat McDonald's, I cannot digest that food anymore.
I was gonna say it was a fun slide because it was colored. It was a red slide. All the other slides in Romania were metallic rust color. That's
It
potentially
was like, yeah, I really have very fond memories of that old McDonald's.
the Galatz McDonald's. And then basically what I wanted to talk about like is exactly a bit more about the experience of kind of like growing up as an Euro orphan. The term doesn't sound super friendly, but it is what it is, right? So I wanted to ask you, like, where did your mom go to work, like when she left to work abroad? Which country?
Hmm. So that's still like a mystery stuff to me,
Hmm.
let's just say. But I know she went to Lebanon,
Oh, interesting.
Syria. So actually, she actually speaks some uh, Arabic.
Hmm.
So my ex stepfather
Hmm.
who was actually from Lebanon, but he lived in Germany. So
Hmm.
actually, they met there because I think he was on vacation there, and they
Hmm.
met. So then they got married, and we moved to Germany because he lived in Germany.
Hmm.
So as a child, I actually, because they spoke Arabic, I actually understood the language for some reason. That's really random.
Hmm.
Sometimes I still understand word, but I mean they split it up like ages ago. So, but sometimes I understand it. It's very random. It's like,
Interesting.
why does this Romanian girl understand Arabic? I don't know, but yeah.
So how many languages do you speak at the moment? You speak, well, Romanian you can understand, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I always say like if I went to Romania and just had no other options and was there like for 2-3 months, maybe it would come back.
Yeah.
Slowly, but like no other options, no other language.
Mm-hmm.
So I speak Spanish and German and English and.
I mean, you speak some of the major European languages, right? Spanish is like the third most.
Yeah, I tried French. I mean, I understand some French, but I never really got to really learn it because I was a bit traumatized in school. So when I went to school here in Germany, because I moved to Germany when I was 10 and then left when I was 15, my first French teacher, he was actually Romanian. And I said, and I didn't like, and so how do I explain? So it was like the first year of French, and we had to read out loud. And you know, some words are very similar to Romanian words because it's a Latin-based language, right? So I pronounced this word, student, which I'm not going to pronounce right now. And he said, that's because he knew I was Romanian, right? And he said, yeah, that pronunciation is a bit too Romanian. And I was like traumatized from that point on. And I did not want to read out loud in French. I did not want to, because I was like, fuck, it sounds Romanian. It should sound French, but it doesn't. So I cannot speak this language. It's too nasal. It's difficult.
Because you sound Romanian, right? Which city was this?
He meant it very nicely, but actually, I think he sort of traumatized me.
Gave you a little bit of a complex about sounding too Romanian?
Yeah.
Interesting. So which city was this? This was in Germany, yeah?
Yeah, it was in Lark, so it's actually basically here, 50 kilometers from Freiburg. It's the Black Forest area.
So let's kind of retrace steps. So basically, your mom was away for the first 7 years. She was working somewhere in the Middle East with whatever she was. What was she doing? Do you remember?
I have no fucking idea.
Mystery. So she was working in the Middle East. Then she came back when you started going to school, and then fast forward 3 years, around the year of 10, you guys ended up moving to Germany. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you end up? So basically, when you moved to Germany, you didn't know any German, correct?
No. Okay. Before I moved, I had like for a couple of months private teacher. But I only like learned the ABC in German and some letters. And my name is Andra, and she was like a weird lady. She had a wig on and always was like in a bathrobe teaching me at her house. It was just weird. I didn't really learn that much, but yeah. So when I got to Germany, I had like 1 year of English in school in Romania in 3rd grade, and that was all my English. But here in Germany, the kids in 4th grade, they did not have English. They had like French, but you didn't get any like real marks for it. It was like voluntarily, I don't know.
Like extracurricular.
It was not graded. So they had French, and I was like the special kid because I knew some English. Oh, that's the girl that knows English. And that was my only way to communicate with the teacher.
In English?
Yes, in very bad English.
Right. So how do you go to school in Germany without knowing German? Like tell me a bit more about that, because that sounds like super hard.
I don't know. Just jumping into the cold water. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had no other option. What should I mean, my mom was like, yeah, go to school. School is here. School. Just go. And I'm like, great. I have no fucking idea what I should do here. So yeah, I communicated in my very, very bad English with the teacher. And I didn't speak to anyone, like really speak to anyone for like 6 months because I did not feel comfortable. Again, if I'm not very sure about my vocabulary, I will not speak. So I didn't speak for 6 months, and then slowly, I mean, when you're 10, it's easier because
pick up a language,
kids pick up the language faster than an adult. So I did not speak for 6 months, and then slowly I started to speak at school with my teacher. with some friends I made.
Mhm.
And then the problem is, once I started speaking German at school, that was it. At home, I started speaking German because it was easier.
Automatic.
And my mom still, oh, my earring just dropped.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So
So
basically, how big was the class, and was everybody in the class German, or how? Give me a bit more info on
yeah,
like
I
the.
mean, they were German, I think, but yeah, German. There was like, I guess, some Russian Germans as well, but yeah, everyone was German. There was no other kid that didn't speak uh, German. But I did have to go for that whole year, an hour earlier to school.
Mhm.
And me and I think 2 or 3 other girls, I think they were Russian. We had like another teacher
Mhm.
that taught us the language a bit through memory games and card games and stuff like that, like fun way. And maybe
Interesting.
that also helped. And after school, I also went to, it's called in German, Schülerhilfe. I don't even know what the name was. They helped you with your homework.
Like basically
So
like tuition or something
yeah,
like.
yeah, but I only went because it was fun, and you also have, you had your friends there and
Mhm.
played games and stuff. I only went for the German homework anyway, so math and stuff like that. That was fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they had already a system set up for you to kind of learn the language before school. And this was like, did you guys have to pay extra for this, or was it just like set up by the school?
I think the homework help. I think you have to pay something, but the hour before
Mhm.
the school, I think it was just free. They offered it there, so
And then that lady would teach you in English, or what language would she use to kind of
no, in
convey?
German, in
Oh, okay.
German.
But like picture, like is eine
Yeah,
Hund. This is eine Hund.
yeah, yeah, but yeah. Now that I think about, I don't even know how we understood her because we didn't know any German.
Right. So basically,
So
this.
I had like 2 or 3 weeks into school beginning, we had an exam.
Mhm.
It was like sort of history meets geography
Mhm.
kind of exam. And me, as a nerd,
Mhm.
overachiever in Romania, I was like, I need to do this.
Mhm.
So with my mom, she
Mhm.
helped me. I basically learned everything by heart without actually knowing exactly what it meant,
Mhm.
and still got the second best grade in the class. And that was because the teacher said, you can write something in English, just answer the question however.
Mhm.
And I think she actually understood what I wanted to write down. I
Mhm.
mean, she knew that I knew the
Mhm.
answer, but it was difficult to communicate. So I actually got the second best grade and was like, whoa, what's up here?
And this was like when you were 11, or how old were you at this point?
And
Okay. So basically, how long did it take you to pick up the language at this point, German? So you go from like pictures of cats and dogs.
maybe
This.
6 months, 6 months to, after fourth grade here in Germany, I think now they're starting to change it, but back then, after fourth grade, you get like a letter, and you have the option to go to Hauptschule, Realschule, or Gymnasium. You
Mhm.
know that
I know
after,
gymnasium. I'm assuming it's like basically just like I'm assuming it's like technical school or like vocational or something of the sorts, right?
yeah, and then Gymnasium is like where you can actually do your Abitur and stuff like that.
Which is like
So you can actually go to university
right.
afterward.
And the other ones, what like my German is non-existent, so you'd have to kind of like
Okay,
explain
so
it.
you don't have any. Okay, so
Nine.
two options were like, yeah, like technical school and stuff until 10th grade, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have the option to take an exam and then go to the gymnasium, which is like where the intelligent kids go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did not got the option of gymnasium because my German wasn't that good, right?
Really?
But I didn't get the worst one. I got like the second best.
Right. So what is the worst
So I
one?
went there for a year in fifth grade, and after fifth grade, I think you had to have, I don't know, the grades like in math, English, and German. You had to have like good grades, and then you can actually move to the gymnasium if the average was, I don't remember how
Mm.
much. Whatever the teacher said me, yeah, you can actually go to the gymnasium. What the fuck are you doing here? I was like, my German wasn't that great out, but that's why I didn't get the option. So I actually did not have to take any exam. I just 6th grade, I went to the gymnasium,
Right.
and my grades actually improved
When you went,
because friends from 4th grade, they were actually all going to the gymnasium. So
Hmm.
I was like, "Yay, now with
So
my
so
friends."
this is this gymnasium number one, and then what was the second one that you went into?
Realschule.
And what is that
Don't
basically?
ask me what the difference is with the Hauptschule.
Okay, so then basically, so it's kind of like vocational as well, but like it's like medium intelligence vocational. It's
Yeah,
it's
I guess
interesting.
so.
It's interesting how they segregate the students at like the I guess like the age of 12. I'm assuming because that's when you get
No, you're like 10 years
10
old,
years.
and I was like the oldest because I went to school with when I was 7,
Mhm.
and I'm born in January,
Right.
so
Okay, I see.
that so but it's really early to decide something like that for a kid because you're like 10.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because and then the idea the more interesting thing is the fact that you're kind of like ingraining the fact that look you're not that smart into the kid at like a
Yeah,
like young age.
I mean, it was basically that. It was like you're not smart enough.
Mm,
You have, I mean, I had that sensation. I had the feeling, okay, shit, I'm not smart enough, but I want
mhm.
to go with my friends. So
Right. So then you
yeah,
ended up kind of
but
overcoming them and going to the gymnasium, right? So then at this
yeah,
point, like,
because
mhm.
yeah, I was very happy about that.
So then basically at this point you're like speaking German fluently and you're just doing normal high school adolescent kind of like shenanigans, I guess, in like German high school, yeah.
Yeah,
But were you perceived differently because you're Romanian or like an immigrant or anything of the
I
sort?
never had the feeling. Maybe I was too naive
Mm-hmm.
back then. I never had that feeling.
Right.
Mm,
Was there any like in German? Like again, I'm not familiar with the German schooling system, but like I went to Romanian schooling system, and I guess at that point in because
the
I
Romanian schooling system, I have like I
no,
only went for 3 years, but
I mean basically I think
I
now it's kind
hated
of
uniform.
I think once you kind of go to like at least in my city is like I think the high school middle class is a lot of like relatively bullying or the kids become a bit more meaner in that area, right? So was that this case in
Yeah, but the
Germany?
problem is I did not have that here in
Mm-hmm.
Germany. I didn't, maybe because I was like sort of the popular
Okay.
group, but the popular group was actually in the gymnasium, the people that had good grades.
Right. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Oh, what a novel concept to become popular if you
Yeah,
did well
right,
at school.
right. So I had good grades always, and my friend, and I don't know, it wasn't. There was a bit of bullying, I guess, but not towards me. I never had the feeling, oh, you're not German, because like my friend was Russian and she had like the best grades also. So it was
Right.
not. I never had got that feeling. So I just felt like, oh, I belong here.
Okay.
It's fine. It's
So it was a
great.
relatively smooth integration after the first big jump, right? Like the
Yeah,
language
because
learning.
I guess there were a lot of kids with different backgrounds also.
Mhm.
Not everyone was fully German.
Right. So you weren't like in a completely homogeneous type of society.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, and then what happened afterwards? So you said like 15, you had to move again.
Yeah, so my parents, my mother basically had this great idea. Let's go to Spain because your aunt lives there. And she was not happy here in Germany. I mean,
Right.
maybe as a kid, it's different, but for her, it was like fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
Also the relationship, I guess, with my ex stepfather was not that great.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say it was horrible.
Right.
So yeah, so we ended up moving to Spain because yeah, they wanted to open like a tapas bar and whatever. So we moved there. I didn't
Where in
really
Spain?
want to. In Almeria,
Almeria.
Roquetas Mar. It's like in the south
Okay.
where all the greenhouse stuff is. How do you call that?
Like farms or what? Like
Yeah, the plastic things that where you
solar. I think it's the Romanian word. The I guess the just the places where you grow vegetables. I guess the greenhouse.
yeah, exactly. But also it's very touristic. I mean, there were a lot of tourists in the
Mhm,
summer. Basically, that town was just beach and hotels on the beach,
mhm.
and it doesn't really have like a center. Normal towns have like a center, and then the city develops like around it in a circle.
Mhm.
That's like the normal scheme
Right.
of yeah, right. But this one is like beach,
Mhm,
hotels,
mhm.
some houses and then the
Most.
farms.
Right. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So then, how
It's
was
like
that like? 'Cause,
elevated.
at that point, you've just integrated. You just made some friends in Germany, and then come on, we're going to Spain.
Like when you're 15, like in the middle of your
Mhm. Yeah, you're a teenager. Yeah,
adolescence
yeah.
and
You're
college, it's like where you're developing your
becoming more independent.
set of mind and stuff. Yeah, and then I moved to Spain, and that was like a big difference. That was
Okay.
like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Mind you, in Germany in school and stuff like that, I did not have any Romanian friends. There were no Romanians.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, fine. But then when I got there, it's like, what the hell is going on here? First, when I went to school, they didn't want me to have French. They wanted me to go to like an extra class for Spanish so I could learn Spanish faster.
Right.
But I insisted that I wanted to go on with French and just learn French.
Hmm.
But the headmasters are like, yeah, but you need to learn Spanish first.
But
And
how were you
my aunt,
communicating? How were you communicating with the headmaster at this point? Because at this point you're
no,
speaking.
my
I
aunt
see.
already lived here, so she could speak. So she actually went with us and
Right,
stuff
right,
like
right.
that.
So because at this point,
And like now
just to kind
she
of
knows she
ju-
wants to learn French. Just put
Mhm.
her in the fucking French class. Just put her in the normal classes. Eventually, she'll learn Spanish.
Well, so again, the situation is you're going to another country, you don't speak the language yet, you have to go to school and do subjects in that particular
No,
school. So in this context, like,
but before, yeah, but before I went to Spain, I actually changed school for
Mhm,
half a year, for like half a semester,
mhm,
whatever, because in eighth grade here, well, in the gymnasium, you have to pick a third language or more science stuff.
mhm,
So I wanted to pick a third language, foreign language, because I already had English and French.
mhm.
And in my old school, I could only pick Latin or Italian, and I did not want
Right,
any of those.
right,
I
right,
wanted Spanish, not because I was moving to Spain, but because I wanted Spanish.
right, 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 right.
So I actually, yeah, decided on my own to just leave all my friends in school behind and just change school to learn
Right.
Spanish.
So you had like maybe like 6 months of Spanish by this time.
Yeah, but again, you basically learn how to count, and my name is Andra.
But then basically the point was, but in this 5 years where you're in Germany, what language were you speaking at home? Were you just full on German?
My mom spoke some Romanian, but I basically always or almost always answered in German.
Mhm,
Then she and my stepfather, they spoke some German and some Arabic.
mhm, mhm.
So that was it.
Interesting. Okay, so then now you're in Spain, you're learning how to say cat in pollo. This is a pollo. I am Andra and me gusta el pollo. You know,
And yeah, something like that.
yeah, just learning
No,
Spanish. So, mhm,
but then the bullying started. So my boyfriend is Spanish, okay?
okay,
So he's not. He's like on vacation or something right now
right.
because yeah. Long story, but before he went and he knew I was going to do the podcast, he was like, "Are you gonna talk badly about Spanish people?" And I was like, "Maybe." He was like, because he knows what I think about
Okay,
Spanish people in general, like
okay, and
my experience.
feel
But
free to
I
share
have a
your
Spanish
experience.
boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I
exactly.
have
So
a,
it's a
I
love-hate
don't hate
relationship.
everyone.
Yeah.
No, but I went there and it was like I don't know, the school was like horrible, that school.
Hmm.
So well, a lot of Romanians, most of them were like Jehovah Witnesses. How do you call? Do you know that the
Jehovah
sect? Do you know?
Witnesses. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Romanian Jehovah Witnesses in Almeria, Spain. Wow, that's a weird one.
So I didn't even know what the fuck that was.
Right,
But like, so I went to school, right?
right.
I was the new girl. Everyone sort of knew each other, and I was that's the new girl. So I went. You know, when you have like your break, you
Mhm.
go outside, schoolyard, whatever. I sit down, and all the Romanian kids come over.
Mhm.
I don't know how they knew that I was Romanian. It's like, oh, you're Romanian. It's like, Yeah, I started like a bit of Romanian because I
Right,
didn't know Spanish. How,
right, right,
where
right,
should I talk German
right,
to them? I don't know what.
right.
So I spoke very little, and they're like, yeah, they wanted to befriend me
Mhm.
and things like that. Also wanted me, I think, to join their sect. Like their
They're Jehovah's Witnesses.
yeah, because once they're like, oh, we have like an after school program if you want. It's like for teenager meeting stuff like yeah, no, thank, I'm
And
fine
this was all in
because
Romanian, yes?
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that was weird.
so what happened afterwards?
Uh,
That's pretty interesting.
yeah, like once I went out of biology class and when we just had like the whole evolution theory with Darwin, and I was like very excited because I really liked it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, what did you do in biology today?" And I was like, "Yeah, Darwin." And this one girl comes up to me, she's like, "You don't believe that shit, do you? I mean, we don't come from monkeys." And I was like, that was the point. I was like, okay, these people are crazy.
Right.
I'm not gonna hang up. I'm just gonna ignore them. So you had those people, and then you had the other Romanians who were skipping school, smoking, and bad
Right, right,
stuff.
right, right. Interesting. So there's a pretty interesting range, very, very opposite kind of range of
Yeah, so I didn't join them. I
mhm,
didn't join them.
mhm,
So I was like a loner.
mhm.
I didn't speak Spanish for 6 months again because I did not feel comfortable.
Right,
But the language, of course, was easier than German.
right,
Latin-based telenovelas.
right, 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 right,
In Romania, you have telenovelas. I actually understood a lot of stuff.
right, right, right.
And there was this one girl, she hated me for some reason. I don't even know. Because I think it was this Romanian guy that was talking to me. And I think she liked him, but I didn't like him. He was like very stupid, I must admit.
Yeah,
But he talked to me, and I was like, oh, he's nice, but
right.
and she thought I didn't understand Spanish, so she was talking to her friend. She was like sitting in front of me. I could
Was she
hear
Romanian or
everything.
Spanish?
Spanish. She
Right,
was
right,
even the daughter of the headmaster.
right, right, right. Oh
Just
my God.
wait for it. And she was like, yeah, this girl, she's like the mute one, the mute one. And I was
Right,
like, I'm mute. I just don't feel comfortable
right,
speaking
right,
Spanish yet.
right,
I
right,
was like cursing inside.
right, right. Oh my God, bully by Spanish. Okay,
But
so
still, I got like better grades. I had like uh, everyone thought I would fail
right,
because most people failed,
right,
like Romanians
right.
there. Everyone had to repeat the year and stuff like that. And
Really?
then
Oh,
the
especially the
best
ones.
the best grade is like 10, right?
Right.
So my average was a 9 after half a year because I moved like in the middle of the school year.
Right.
So from January to July, I went to the what's it, 8th grade. Yeah, I think
Nice.
it was 8th grade or 9th grade. I don't remember. Whatever. So I had like a 9 average out
Mhm,
of
mhm,
10,
mhm.
and they were like, "Oh, this girl is like a fucking miracle." And I'm like, "No, it's not a miracle. I just studied. It's not that difficult."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just
And I
put
was
in the
like, "The
effort.
weird one." Yeah,
Okay, very interesting. So how did that kind of work out? Did you finish high school in Spain or?
yeah. I finished high school in Spain. I also had to like change high school afterwards because that high school only had like until the 10th grade, and if you want to like finish I don't know how you call it.
Is it like a step? Like in Romanian, they have like the step. It's like you do 9, 10.
Until the 12th grade,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So you do 9, 10, and there's another step now. You have to do an exam at the end
Yeah,
of 10.
exactly. So just but it's not because it was a different school, just that school didn't have room for that many grades. And they
Hmm.
actually, I think now they have because they build another building or stuff like that.
Right.
So I just had to move finish there, actually started university there,
Hmm. In
and then moved to Germany in
in
my
Algeria.
second year of university as an
Okay.
Erasmus
Oh, I
student.
see, I see. Okay, so that must have been a quite an interesting experience now, right?
Yeah, I moved back to Germany, and then just after 1 year of Erasmus here and crazy shit happening, I just abandoned that path.
The university path or just like the Spain
Yeah,
path.
yeah, yeah. I just abandoned that. I was studying business management. I was like,
Mhm.
this shit is not for me.
Right, 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 right.
So I just quit. I
Mhm,
did not study for 1 year, and then I started studying here at the university
mhm,
again,
mhm, mhm.
but something else.
Right. Okay. So how was when you came back to anything eventful happened throughout like the high school years? Was there more bullying? Did you integrate? What was the situation in Spain?
Let's just say I did not let the bullying get to me,
Hmm.
but it was just very weird there because when people want to get to you, that I mean, I just was standing in the school, I don't know, in the hallway waiting for my class or whatever,
Hmm.
and then this girl just walks and looks at me like, and just with a sound, and just walks, and like, what the fuck do you expect? I just ignored everything, and I
Right.
think
Right.
that
Right.
really made them even more angrier, but
Right.
never really got anything physical because I ignored everything, and that was, I think, the best thing I could do because
But were
I could
these
really get to them just by
right?
ignoring
But
them.
were these like just not giving them attention, right? Not feeding the trolls, as they say.
Mhm.
But was
No,
this mostly from like the Romanian Jehovah Witnesses, from the Spanish girls, the
no, that
Romanian?
was from the Spanish people, just Spanish girls.
So just Spanish
Because I
girls.
was like the new girl, and no, it was I was like the new girl,
Mhm.
and I mean, come on, I was actually fat at the time when I look back like picture. I was
Right.
like a bit heavier than I am now. Like,
Right.
but some of the guys were like trying to date me, but I also ignored, like, if I was not interested into
Right.
dating or guys
Right.
at the
Right. Right.
time,
Right.
I was like
I'm going through
not into that.
personal crisis. Yeah, I'm moving countries. I got other stuff on my plate.
Yeah, I just was focusing. I also had really great grades, I must admit.
Mhm.
Even the headmaster thought I was like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
When I had to move schools, you actually had to apply because everyone had to move
Mhm. Mhm.
schools
Mhm.
from the 10th grade if you wanted to finish
Mhm.
how do you call yeah abitur or
Mhm.
do, there it's called bachillerato,
Okay. Which
whatever.
is
So there were like two schools that were the candidates,
mhm.
and the headmaster actually called the one I wanted to go to and tell them, you have to take her in, if not you are losing something or something like that. I was
Right.
like,
Right.
what the
Right. Right.
fuck?
Right. 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 Like the gymnasium. So like you basically everybody was like just impressed by your
yeah but
intelligence, I guess.
yeah but I actually ignored the teachers also. I was not trying to
Mhm.
kiss their asses to, so to
Right.
speak.
Right.
I
Right.
was
Right.
like just doing my homework.
Right. So but do you think this is basically everybody else was just very like willy nilly about school? They were just not taking it seriously, or what do you think
No,
the
I
reason was
think
there?
I think there were also Spanish kids that were very like had good grades and stuff
Mhm.
like that. The problem is I was the Romanian that had good grades, the
Oh,
not native one that had good
right, right,
grades. That
right,
was
right,
like special, so
right.
so to speak.
So the situation was the expectations were so low for you because you were a Romanian,
So fucking low, like really low.
but just by doing the better, you like just by doing the normal schoolwork,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
were
well, okay, my average was like after 6 months was like a 9 out of 10,
mm,
and then the next year when I finished like 10th grade was 9.8 out of 10.
okay,
So
okay,
it was really high,
right, right, right,
but
right.
I don't know. It
Interesting.
wasn't. Right
So
now, I'm not doing that anymore. Right, like I'm at university. I feel too old. I have like grades just because I do everything like last minute. I had
right,
to
right.
write my bachelor thesis.
Mhm,
Right, 3 months. I have time to write it.
mhm.
What do? I write it in 3 days, 30 pages in 3 days, and do the research in the 3 days, like 10 books. I passed. I don't know how, but
Right,
I
right, right,
passed.
right. Okay,
But
that's very
not
good.
a grade.
That sounds more like my studying patterns. It's I guess I
Yeah, but
think
I feel too old. I just want to finish.
right, 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 exactly. So this is the one that you started afterwards, right? The Greek.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So
It,
let's
it took me a while. Should be finished this summer semester,
mhm.
but it took me a while because here in Germany, it's not very expensive to study, but also I don't have any like I don't get any money from the government,
Right,
so I have to work. So I
right,
also work a lot. So I cannot take like 10 subjects a
right, right,
semester,
right, right.
and I don't work just to pay like the regular stuff. I have a shoe addiction. I want vacation.
Okay,
I
okay,
want
okay,
stuff.
okay. Right, 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 right. Okay, very nice. Well, what do you do for your work, for the I'm asking?
Yeah, it's difficult. Up until now, I was like, um, as a waitress, but
Okay.
actually you can make good money as a waitress here, so it's not that bad.
These developed economies, right? Insane.
fuck, I would not do this in Spain again. I mean,
Did you
not
work in Spain at all?
yeah. The last year, like the first year of when I went to university when I turned 20,
Mm-hmm.
then I also worked as a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very good experience because I really really liked my bosses.
Mm-hmm. In
So
Spain.
they were a couple, yeah, but they were not Spanish.
Where were they from?
So the woman, she
Mm-hmm.
was half Italian, half Brazilian. So
Oh,
very
okay. E-
temperament.
Expressive,
She was
yeah.
very crazy, but I just loved it. I loved it. And
Okay.
he was half Italian, half Hungarian, but
Mm-hmm.
they lived in Manchester and they
Mm.
moved to Spain to open an Italian restaurant. So it was great.
It's a great story, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you moved back to Germany for your Erasmus, was there like a reverse culture shock? Did your German still hold up, or how was that?
My German was rusty. I admit it is still a bit rusty.
Mm-hmm.
I have an accent that I didn't have before because when you're small, the rolled R,
Mm-hmm.
you have it in Romanian, right?
Right.
And in Spanish.
Right.
Exactly. But you don't have it in German.
Right.
So when I was small, I think I didn't roll it that much. I could actually adapt it. But
Right.
then I had to go to Spain, roll it again, and now I cannot get rid of it.
Right.
I
Okay.
just gave up.
Right. Very interesting. And then basically, was there like with the university? You went to Freiburg, right? Is that where you went to Erasmus?
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. So that was like now you're like seeing Germany through the eyes of an adult, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that situation? Was there just like was this whole kind of cocktail of like moving around? Because like usually all the childhood stuff usually they tend to boil up when you're an adult.
Yeah,
Is
tell
it-
me about it.
yeah. How was the you said you ran into some difficulties. You had to kind of drop the course because it was the wrong course, right? Which surprisingly, basically, I also went to I did studies in the UK, and then in the UK, it's a period of time in the UK which is very fortunate. Like it was 2007 before 2012. So this particular time, the fees for the universities were affordable because at that time,
Okay, no, because I moved on 2007 as well to Spain. It was 2007 Christmas
right.
time.
So at that time for me, like the fees were affordable, like you could get a loan from the British
Mhm.
government to pay the fees. But then in 2007, 2012, because too many people are coming to study in the UK, they tripled the fees. They made them like first they made them 9,000, then they made them 12,000 for everybody. So then at that point, it's one thing to take a loan out for like 2,000 for university fees, and another loan take out for 12,000 a year. So
You know how much you pay here in Germany?
like 300 euros, 500 euros, right? Or how much?
It's not normal. Even in Spain, it's in Spain it's like 1,000 something up to 2,000 a year, but here it's like ridiculous. No, I mean
Yeah,
it's
it's.
affordable, very affordable, but still, I
I mean,
mean,
sometimes it also kind of like, for example, my housemate, I live with a guy that's German in his university as well, and it kind of acts like as an incentive just to stay more in university. So he's like been 5 years in university now because like I think he's kind of putting off life. But the point is, yeah, yeah, it acts as a bit of an incentive to kind of postpone real life to some degree, which is again, it's pluses and.
that's why I'm in therapy right now.
Mhm.
Like really in therapy because I got to a point where I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. I mean, I
Right.
should be finished with summer semester. I really have like
Mhm.
3 subjects left or something like that. I don't even need a grade because you have subject where you need a grade, a subject
Mhm.
where you just need to pass
And
the
and
subject,
yeah, and does the therapy
and it's like the easy ones, and I'm like, fuck, but I don't know what should I do afterwards. Should I finish the other thing that I started back
Mhm.
then in
Yeah.
Spain? Should I do a master's?
What
I have no idea.
what are you studying now?
In how do you call so my minor is Spanish,
Mhm.
and then my major is English and American studies.
Okay. So like basically, not a lot of career opportunities in those particular areas. I mean, we do the thing that everybody does: just join a startup. That's where they all go. Uh, that's the a lot of.
Lately people have been telling me, why don't you open your own like vegan something vegan? I'm a vegan, that's why I'm a weird Romanian as well for my family. So I'm vegan.
Mhm.
I consider myself an athlete, so I don't believe in religion,
If
so
you don't
I'm
believe it,
not.
don't, sorry. Can you repeat
I
that?
don't
You don't.
believe. I'm
Oh, an
not
atheist. Atheist, yeah.
atheist, exactly. So I'm a vegan atheist. I like rock music.
Mhm.
I don't speak Romanian very well, so my mother basically she calls me a freak, like
Okay.
literally the word
Right.
freak.
Right. I don't know what happened there. I think oh, your phone vibrated. Is that what
Yeah,
happened? Yeah. So so your word, what is the word? Freak or in German?
freak. So
Freak.
she's like, you're a freak.
Okay. Very
You're
interesting.
not normal.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
and I like, to keep in shape or
Right.
go
Right.
to the gym. That's also like you're a freak who does that. You're just obsessed. I'm like, I'm not obsessed. That's what normal people also do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
But
like another when because up to when I was 18, I got like to the highest weight that
mhm.
I was like always a bit chubby, but not
Right.
a lot.
Right. Right.
And then I was I don't like this. I
Mm,
need to change something. So I just
right. Right.
started jogging. The first jog I took in the morning was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a heart attack
Right.
or something. And then,
That's
we just build up.
that's a very interesting. And do you think you were using like? Do you think you were a bit more chubby at the time because you were that your way of coping with stress, like or
No, I just ate
you
very poorly.
just like
I just had
right?
too much fast food and
And I
stuff
think that's
like that.
also a good lesson on like and then there's I guess like traditionally Eastern European families they're not very well educated on nutrition. Yeah.
Trust me, no, it's like I can't even explain it. And
Hmm.
I started jogging because of a very foolish reason
Hmm.
because I like this guy on the bus, but I never got any attention. And then I saw him in the mall with this girl, and she was like way thinner. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, now I understand what the fuck is going on. So afterwards, it was not even about him anymore. I just felt better.
Hmm.
I could fit into other clothes. I could
Hmm.
actually, I just felt very comfortable. But my mom was like, "You're anorexic. You lost weight. What's going on?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, I was very always aware of not to take it too far. I mean, I
Right.
love food. I,
Hmm.
I was very aware. I'm still very aware of not somehow going that slippery slope where you're, getting into eating disorders and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because I saw like, on TV stuff like that. I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
So would you say your
My mom
mom
was
is
like,
like
look at you. You lost weight. What's up?
would
You're
you
going jogging every morning. That's not normal. I was like,
would you say your mom is very I don't know, traditional? Is like very very I wanted to say very Romanian, but then like that well, that doesn't mean anything. But
yeah, I get what you want to say. Yeah, she is.
like she believes in God. She goes to church.
That, she is what when she wants to be with stuff she wants to be.
Right, okay. Because like you were saying, like when you were growing up, obviously, you and your cousins. Were your cousins living in Germany as well, or what was the situation? Why were they particularly the odd ones out?
Our cousins, like
Mhm.
my parents split when I was very small, so I actually don't know my father's family. I don't even really know him.
Right, okay. Don't worry, it's the same boat here.
Who the fuck is he? No, I
Yeah.
actually know his name and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, look, when they split up, right? We were actually basically neighbors almost. The buildings were like
Hmm.
neighboring buildings. He could have visited. He just visited for some like 1 year or something. That's it, and just lost contact. I mean, what the fuck?
Hmm.
Oh, he was also an alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the thing with and I was talking. This is one thing I try to talk about uh like for example I also come from like a single parent family, my mom as well, right? But I think not that I'm making excuses for anybody, but the point is that that post like people really don't understand how difficult and how much pressure was in that post-communist Romania, because like after communism fell, all the fucking systems went to shit. There was like no support mechanisms, there was nothing, there was like and there was no mental health at that time as well, right? So like everyone's like
Yeah,
coping.
yeah. The part with the mental health, right? I'm going
Yeah,
to therapy just
yeah,
because I want to figure some shit out.
yeah.
And I'm like, you're going to therapy. What happened to you? That was so bad. I was like,
Exactly. It doesn't have to be
what
something
did I
that
do to you? I was like, I need this because I have an existential crisis and stuff. And I'm very aggressive and
right.
I'm very aggressive. I'm very direct. Normally,
Mm,
people don't like the tone of my voice sometimes. I
mm,
need to just calm down a bit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like automatically equate mental health kind of like practices with like negative aspect. Like only
Like you're
crazy
crazy.
people go to like like therapy. Which is not the case because like and because for them the normal people just drink their problems away. That is the
You know that city in Romania, Yash?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yash? Is there like a mental hospital there or something? Because growing up, it was like, yeah, if you're crazy, go to there or something. Go to that city. Was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. There's always
is
the
it?
reference of like go to like I think in Romania it was called Sapoca. Like in Buzău, sorry, in Buzău it was called Sapoca. It was like this big mental institution
Yeah, yeah, okay.
around Buzău. So then like you have to go to Sapoca. But then the point is like it's like the stigma associated with it was that if you go to a hospital something's very wrong with you, right? And then a lot of people would not go to the hospital. But it's just but the alcoholism problem was such a big problem in like
I
my
mean,
grand
look, yeah, my
my
grandpa, my
my grandpa,
uncle,
my uncle,
my
exactly, exactly. Everybody like it's such a like everybody like is dying of fucking liver problems, right? Because everybody's drinking so much. Because like I think the only problem with like the only coping mechanism available was alcohol, which is like the worst coping mechanism, right? Because it fucking fucks up your body, fucks up your family. You get violent. It fucks you up.
Maybe also because mostly, I mean, I only experienced it with like the male.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what the coping mechanism is for like the female, the Eastern European Romanian females. It's usually going to church or maybe like just being extremely passive aggressive and unloading a lot of that stuff through emotional blackmailing your
I hope my
children.
grandma doesn't see this, but I mean, she went to a fucking witch or something, reading the cards,
Yeah,
trying
exactly,
to.
exactly, exactly.
I
They
was like,
find
what the
other
fuck? And I
esoteric,
was going there with her. I
yeah,
was like, what the fuck is this?
they're finding some other form of esoteric type of escape from
Yeah,
like too
yeah.
much stress.
She went there so she could like put a spell on my grandpa so that he wouldn't drink.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Like this is quite funny because like last night I was watching, and if you have the time, I would recommend. I was watching this So usually I talk a lot of shit about Romania, but the good thing that comes out of Romania is like modern Romanian cinema is very, very good because effectively it is painting all these kind of like institutional or like emotional problems in film. So I was watching the death of Mr. Moartea domnului Răzărescu, the death of Mr. Lazarescu last night. I don't know if you know it. It's a movie called by Cristian Puiu, and it's basically the story of this guy who's like 63 called Mr. Lazarescu, and he has like he's a bit of an alcoholic. Everybody keeps addressing his alcoholism in anything. His daughter moved to Canada, Toronto, and then effectively the movie is all about him basically calling the ambulance, and the ambulance basically keeps bumping him from one hospital to another throughout the whole night until he dies. And then and the funny thing is like every hospital he goes to, each doctor gives him a speech and a more like they take the moral stand ground on alcohol, and they berate him for being alcoholic, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You're wasting time, you're wasting my time, you're wasting everyone's time in this emergency room because you're an alcoholic. And it's like a lot of shaming associated with alcoholism. So it's a very
Mm-hmm.
it's a very dark, but like it's dark funny kind of thing.
Okay.
And it just kind of like I think like it highlights the fact that
It's
alcoholism is such a prevalent and way of like dealing with mental stress, and that it
it's a,
just
I don't know, but it just these sort of stereotypes. I mean,
but like
I
just
basically
the
lived
stigma.
like all of them. I don't even really know Romanian. I don't even really know about Romanian culture that
Mhm,
much,
mhm.
I must admit, because I actually never really followed up or read about it or,
Right.
you know, but still like in Spain, I had, I had a bit of accent. Most people say I don't, but
Mhm, mhm.
oh, you know why I have the accent? Because in the south of Spain, you have these like a dialect, and I did not
Right.
speak the dialect. I like spoke the standard
Mhm, mhm.
Spanish. So like,
Right.
oh, where you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Romanian. And then the looks like I was like, oh, and they never spoke to me again.
Yeah, it's
Like I would wait or waiting at the bus station. Old couple comes, but when the bus comes, I think it comes in 5 minutes. And she's like, oh, where are you from? I'm Romanian. I was like, oh, okay. And then turned away. In university, I had this. He was a bit older. He was a Romanian guy, but somehow he started, he finished high school in like a year and everything in Spain because he wanted to go to university in Romania. He didn't have the studies, but he wanted like a better life for himself, so he did it very late in life.
Right.
And I always thought he was like South American because he was a bit darker and like small.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he's South American or something, right?
Right.
And then he asked me, oh, where are you from? I was like, Romania. He was like, me too. And I was like, oh. He was like, but don't say you're Romanian. I think it's better.
In Spain.
Yeah. He told me I should not tell people I was Romanian. I was like, what the fuck?
Interesting. In Almeria, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Also Romanian people when in high school, when I was like new in high school, they were like, oh, where are you from? Or, everyone, Romanian or Spanish people, whatever, also the English people there, Bulgarian, whatever.
Right.
Where are you from? I'm Romanian. And they're like, but you don't look like it. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I think I look very Eastern European.
Yeah, you do. You definitely look Romanian, like from the Romanians that I know. Yeah, it's like there's this particular characteristic that you'll have. Like usually the cheekbones, you can see it. It's more Romanian. Like
but I must admit, I'm rarely identified as Romanian when people think like, where are you from? I like, take a guess. And it's like always, I had like blonde hair, like, oh, you're Russian. I was like, no, I'm not Russian. I also got like twice, oh, you're half Asian, like Asian.
I see it. I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. I can see.
You're like mixed Asian or French. I was like, what the?
Right. Yeah, I usually get like I usually get like Greek or French, a lot of the times. But
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. You have like light eyes or something.
Yeah, blue eyes.
Brown eyes. I mean, maybe my eyes look a bit like Chinese or something.
Did you have basically anything like that in Germany, or is it just Spain particularly?
Spain particularly. Maybe it was also that time of, I don't know, maybe the age I was at, maybe people were meaner. I don't know.
I think also, like, if you look at the timeline, what time were you in Spain? What age were you when you were in Spain?
From 15, almost 16.
No, I mean 2000 what?
To 7, 8. That was when I got there, and then 2013 I went back. I came back to Germany.
I think it's also that particular time is also because, like, not the kind of just
economical crisis, a lot of immigrants.
Exactly.
Like, you turn on the TV, some Romanians, I don't know, stole something, and I'm like, oh, now I get why the people look at me like I'm some kind of.
Yeah. It's, I think at that time particularly, it was 2007. If you put into context, is when the European Union kind of like Romania joined the European Union, right? So like there was freedom of movement, and a lot of people ended up going to Spain and Italy. And at that time, there was this influx of kind of like Romanians, and obviously all of the negative things would be highlighted on TV. Look, I used to live in Japan for a while, and the first piece of news when I got in fucking Japan, the first piece of news in the first month was a Romanian guy stabs a guy at the Family Mart at like the 7-Eleven. And I'm like, what the fuck?
People, why are you doing this to me? I was like, turned on the TV, I was like, please stop it.
In Japan, like, so the guy was like half Romanian. But it was I don't know exactly what the situation was, but obviously that was kind of like it was much more prevalent at the times. Obviously, I'm sure it hasn't gone away, but I think people have kind of become a bit more educated in, like, not highlighting this level of discrimination, not being so blatant about it,
Right now I can actually laugh about the stuff, like at work. There's like this Bulgarian guy, there's me that's Romanian, and there's this Turkish guy, but he's like half Turkish, and he was like, yeah, we are all Balkan, we're the Balkan brothers or something, like, because I'm like, I'm one of the guys. Somehow, I don't know, I'm not a feminine or something, I don't know.
I think it's just the whole idea of, like, the united for suffering kind of situation, and the other thing that go ahead.
No, I mean, I always say, like, I always make this jokes, I'm Eastern European and stuff, but then actually I don't really identify that much with the culture, so it's like a weird space.
I think you're really caught in the middle, I guess, because you obviously you're not familiar with that culture that much. You haven't lived there for a while. You're really
I get all the negatives and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this concept is quite, when I was in Japan, there was a lot of people that identified as third culture kids, you know, which is basically
Mm.
people that their parents are from another country and then they grew up in another country, and I think you fall within. I personally fall within the third culture adult kind of category because I left Romania when I was 18, but I think you definitely fall within. But the thing is, because the third culture kids in Japan or like in Singapore is mostly refers to the children of expats, and expats traditionally are seen as higher earners and like higher status in that particular society, right?
Mhm.
Whereas like in your situation, I think you're more of a third culture immigrant. I think that's kind of like where we would fall within, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's caught in a very interesting space, and it's a growing demographic. The reality is, right, because like I was reading some statistic about Eastern Europe, and the idea was like in the past 20 years, like Eastern Europe has experienced the largest mass migration in recent history, and the data shows that about like 20 million people have moved from Eastern Europe to Western Europe. 20 million people, that's a whole country, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of like the is this new kind of like identity that is kind of forming, and where you're part of myself.
I can still like right now. I mean, I don't take it that seriously
Mhm.
anymore. Like I can laugh about it. Like when like we are on vacation, me and my boyfriend, we
Mhm.
like make fun, right? He's
Mhm.
like, "Do you think those people are Romanian?" I'm
You
like,
get
"No, I don't know. Let's go closer and see what
mm,
language they're speaking to each other." Like,
yeah,
yeah, we were right there, Romanian,
yeah. It's kind of like the
because you can
guessing
see
game, right?
the stereotypes. That when appearance, like
Mhm.
clothing,
Yeah.
you can see it. That's really funny, actually. I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see it in it's cultural attire, right? Like for example, the way they dress, and like for example, last night I was having a kebab outside Berlin. I mean, you can't have kebabs inside the places because it's like lockdown, right? And this guy sitting next to me, he was like on his phone. He was shorter, chubby, done a lot of hair, and then I was like, this guy looks like a Romanian. And he sits down, and he's Romanian, but then
Yeah.
the conversation, because I can understand the conversation he's having with he's having a conversation with his mother back in Romania. I think he's like maybe like he's like 32, 35. And the conversation is basically he's showing her the kebab place, and he's saying like, when you come to Berlin, I'm gonna take you to this kebab place. They have great kebabs. And he's like, I'm a mama's boy, so I'm gonna show you, and he's like, he's a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
He's here to work. But he looks like, I guess like he looks stereotypically like I don't know, potentially he might not be up to good stuff, because I think that even in my
Yeah.
mind, I kind of like associate
That
that.
doesn't happen to you that when you hear people speak in Romanian, also their voice changes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean,
goes like it goes like it's like that. I don't know why.
he has like I mean, I guess it's kind of like going back to he's had like a very strong Moldovan accent as well, so it's very interesting. But yeah, that might be it just shows that um I guess he's there to work probably honestly, most likely have like honest work, but then the perception is kind of like, but to be honest, like, I feel like I personally feel in Berlin there's not a lot of focus on Romanians. In Germany overall, I think most of most of the negative focus goes on Polish or like Turkish, right? Realistically, so I think Romania is not that big of a element here. However,
No,
hmm?
it's not that bad. I mean, really, in the south of Spain, particularly, it's like I don't know why, but I mean, many go. I mean, I saw like a video of you like
Mhm.
making fun of the asparagus pickers, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of Romanians in Spain work in, picking up tomatoes and stuff like
Strawberries, yeah.
that. So
Yeah, so strawberry was the traditional Romanian sport in Spain. Strawberry picking was the
like,
one that people kind of would refer to. But again, like this is the goes back to the idea like this is essential work being done by essential workers. Yet the perception is still overall negative, and
and the
it's a bit
Spanish
tough.
people wouldn't do it, it's
Yeah,
not very
this is
it's
why
not very well paid.
it's very unfair because like you need this work to be done, yet you treat the people that are doing it in a very shitty way. And this was like an article in the New York Times about how like the Mexican immigrant. This is why I do the joke about like Romania is the Mexico of Europe, right? Like there are a lot of illegal immigrants in the U.S. Basically, they're illegal immigrants, but then the article was uh, illegal but essential. You know, so then
Yeah,
during the pandemic, they would be given by the police little cards that said, I'm allowed to go to this because I'm doing essential work, but they effectively did not have documents to live in the US. So it's kind of like it's basically,
yeah, but in Spain it's the same thing. I mean, it's basically what you just said because there are a lot of people that are working there without any like
right,
legal
right, right.
papers.
Right.
So no health insurance.
Right.
That's
Right.
like the worst thing. You can barely get it. So you, I mean, here in Germany, I don't think it happens that much because there's like a lot of bureaucracy
They're a
and
bit more strict about it, I guess. But it happens here as well to some degree. It's not.
but in Spain, like I worked illegally in the
Mm,
restaurant. I didn't have any like legal document.
right. All health insurance or
So
whatever.
it's like, yeah,
Yeah, it's a weird kind of situation, and I think it's hopefully it's gonna get improved. I hopefully basically progress comes from oppressing somebody. This is what the lesson is, or like abusing somebody. So hopefully once the robots come, this will all go away. But until then, I guess this is what we're working with here.
what's the what?
Once the robots come and everything gets
Okay.
automated, maybe that.
Also, another thing is, also in Spain, but I guess all over Europe,
Mhm.
when you're like a woman, particularly from Eastern Europe,
Right.
or like also maybe she's a prostitute,
Yeah. Talk
that
about this. Yeah, talk about this a bit more because I think obviously
prostitute.
I can't necessarily relate to this because I'm a man. But like as a girl, I think you also face this particular facet of discrimination, right? And how
Yeah,
does
I mean,
that kind of
I think,
yeah.
I make that joke myself, but I didn't really not really experience it, but
Mhm. Yeah, it sometimes it
there
gets
is
one of the
stereotype.
stereotypes. But does that affect your dating life? Like when you were in Spain there before you met your boyfriend, did that affect your dating
I
life?
didn't really date them. I mean, no, I met my boyfriend here.
Oh, okay. But it
No,
wasn't.
no, it did not, because I had a boyfriend in Spain as well,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
it did not really affect it just because I think no, he didn't. My current boyfriend doesn't see it like that.
mhm.
That one didn't. It's just I'm a person. It
Right.
doesn't really matter, but yeah,
Mostly on
it
the
should.
ignorant side. Okay. I think we've kind of been going on for about. You need to go soon as well, right? Like 11:30. I think we can kind
Um,
of wrap it up
yeah.
at the moment. Well, I guess I had more questions to ask, and like I kind of wanted to ask a bit more about like your, just like your mother's perception of your evolution. I guess because you said you're a rocker, you're vegan, you're a vegan rocker, like
A Romanian vegan.
yeah,
What the fuck?
you're a Romanian vegan rocker, and that does not quite meld well
Okay,
with the
so
with the
yeah,
picture.
me and my mom really have like, we don't really get along that well. I
Hmm,
must
hmm,
admit, and I don't have the greatest relationship with her.
hmm,
Just because I think I'm very different from
hmm,
her,
hmm,
or
hmm,
I try to be really like the fucking opposite for some reason,
hmm,
right? And yeah, we don't have a lot in common, I guess. Like
hmm.
nothing.
Like there's a
Like
cultural barrier even within the family, you would say.
yeah, like there's like nothing really that we can say, okay, so we have this particular thing in common. We really do not have, like, so for some reason I really developed like on my own, like my own,
Hmm,
set of mind and
hmm,
whatever. And I don't really know how that happened.
hmm.
It just happened.
Right. Was it? Would you say was it a lot of influence by media, like social media or like U.S. media or
When I
anything of the
grew
sorts?
up, there was not a lot of social media.
Hmm.
I
Or like where did you get your music taste, for example? Like YouTube
mm,
or?
yeah, YouTube, friends. I had like a Nemo phase,
Mm,
Nemo 2000 Nemo.
right. Okay, interesting.
I
So
don't know.
well, I
Yeah,
think maybe we can kind of
very,
discuss this.
very, very, also very like it was very influenced by, obviously, like American culture for some reason. I don't
Right.
know how, but
Do you
yeah.
have any particular shows that you would watch more? Like, did you spend a lot of time watching TV shows when you were like a teenager or anything of the sorts?
No, but I was really into Twilight and stuff like that. I have that phase
Mm,
as well.
right. So like a lot
Like
of
the
the
dark vampire,
right.
I went through all of it.
Does the vampire stereotype kind of sneak in there in these years?
Wait, how do you mean?
The
How,
Romanian
what?
vampire, mythos.
No, no, no. Unfortunately, not. See, that would be a nice one, but no,
It doesn't come out as often, yeah. Okay,
no. I think people sometimes think Transylvania is like another country or something. I don't get it.
I think so. Yeah, I think they don't necessarily associate with
Oh,
Romania.
it's from Transylvania. It's like that is in Romania. I mean, I'm not great at Romanian geography, but even I know that.
Right. Okay. Well, do you want to plug anything before we wrap it up? Do you have any Instagram you want to plug or any podcast, any YouTube, anything?
so I have an Instagram, but I don't really have I'm not I mean I have social media, but
Mhm.
I'm really not that active. I don't even know how it really works. I don't know how people get followers. I
Right.
have no idea. People tell me, "Oh, you could do stuff on your Instagram. I mean,
Mhm.
your vegan food looks great. You're like, outfit of the day stuff, fashion stuff. I
Right.
mean, I'm really into that." But they're like, "You could do something with
Mhm.
that platform." It's like, yeah, but I have no fucking idea how this shit works.
Yeah, you gotta put in
So
time. It's hashtags. It's like
I think
finding
I
out.
think I think I'm too old for it. So
I don't think you're too old for it. I think like that I could have said the same thing about TikTok, right? But it's not. There's no such thing as too old for anything. It's never too early to start. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I
but
think this will.
I don't think I'm just really not into that whole. I don't feel like I need validation or likes from
Right,
people that
right.
I don't know.
But again, it's
Um,
not just. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not just about like validation or like. Sometimes you can also be like, let's say you can help inspire people if you or you can help
yeah.
educate. You know
The
what I mean?
problem is I still haven't figured out like what can I say or do that's not already out there. That's why I'm
But
like,
it's not like but again, it's not about what it's already out there. It's about the unique perspective of a Romanian vegan rocker. You know, this could be the thing that you're adding.
I just put it as a hashtag.
Yeah,
Romanian rocker.
yeah, exactly. It's about the unique perspective that you bring to the world, and it's about the unique perspective that you have, like living in between these countries, these cultures. It's of course, people have done vegan food, but have they done vegan food from your perspective, or have they done
Oh,
outfits?
it's like a month ago or
Hmm.
something that I don't remember. I made like a Romanian typical vegan but veganized recipe, with
Hmm.
the polenta and
Right,
the
right, right, right.
stuff. And I think that was funny, and I got inspired by TikTok because I
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of polenta on the Romanian TikTok. And I was like, I haven't eaten that in like years and
You're
years and years. Like
you were on Polenta
decades,
Talk, Polenta TikTok. That is where you were at.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
yeah. So
That's
if yeah, I would definitely encourage you to try to do a bit more. And I think maybe you should. Maybe you're also holding back because, like you said, you for 6 months you did not talk in German. For 6 months you did not talk in Spanish. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe you should bring that up in your therapy sessions and talk a bit
Yeah.
more about like
Also, I have like some childhood trauma and stuff that
yeah,
I'm working.
but I feel like also Eastern Europeans are a bit more, and Romanians specifically, not specifically, but like as well, they're a bit more incentivized or like predisposed to keeping to themselves and not sharing. There's this whole
Yeah,
concept of like, what do you have to add? What's so special about you? Just shut up and do your work.
exactly. Like I don't know if you remember, but when you're like on the live TikTok, you were like saying something about writing, and then my boyfriend asked me, "But what do you want to do after you finish your studies?" Like I
Hmm.
have no fucking idea. Like I started studying this, like the idealistic idea is like, oh, I'm gonna be a writer or
Right,
something. Because when I was in high school in
right.
Spain, I actually won a poetry contest, and I was
Hmm.
like for 1.5 years, and then I won that shit. And then my teachers told me, you should never stop writing.
Right, right,
What
right.
did I do? Of course, I stopped writing.
That's great advice from like from a teacher. Like it's the
Yeah,
Romanian
it
teacher.
felt so inspiring. And then,
Yeah.
of course, it was like, that's too um, idealistic,
Mhm.
not really, actually something that I could really do. So I just stopped for years. And now he asked me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? If I went for it, it was like what I said. It was like, it's like saying for me, it's like I want to be an astronaut because I feel like it's so
Out of the
out
realm
of
of
reach.
the real. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the thing is, the thing with writing an astronaut, you can start writing now. With the astronaut, it's a bit more difficult to
yeah.
jump into space now. You can daydream. But
And I guess because if I would say this to my mother, probably she would say like, "What the fuck you're talking about? That's not a job. You won't, well, you know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
that's
mean."
not very supportive. But I guess the thing is like like same could be same for comedy. Like what the fuck are you doing? It's not a valid career path. But I guess
Yeah.
you just have to ignore the noise. You just have to kind of follow. Just start doing
When
it.
when I had to when I had to pick what I wanted to study, of course I picked business management for some reason. I don't know why. But first I thought about psychology or
Hmm.
something. What did my mom say? What do you want to do with psychology? You will end up working in a prison, interviewing criminals. I was like, what?
What the fuck are you talking about, right? Yeah, so this is the thing is like I think this is one of the big handicaps. Like all I'm trying to write a joke about the moment about how like the problem with like Eastern Europe and Romania is everybody's an expert, but they know nothing about the subject that they're talking about, but yet they are an expert in it. Like because like, I think the same situation was like the joke was basically about like me trying to do more. I was doing a lot of gaming when I was young, and obviously the number one reference for gaming was like you're never going to achieve anything with that. There's nothing there. You're just wasting your time. And if you look now, there's gamers making millions and millions of dollars. So like I think Eastern
Yeah.
European parents, their heart
My
is in the
father
right.
was a very good gamer, and then yeah, of course he
Yeah,
started studying like
the,
chemistry or
I
something.
was gonna say the Eastern European parents, their heart is in the right place, but the advice that they give is absolutely trash. Like all the advice that you probably got from your like mother and father is like absolutely uninformed, uninspired, and not the kind of like talk shit about my mom or your mom, but they just did not have the imagination to see the world in a different
Like
way.
exactly like she tells me like, oh, because I broke I didn't finish my
University,
first
yeah,
the studies I was doing, and she didn't spoke to me like for 6 months when I decided I'm gonna stay in Germany, not study for a year, and then figure out what the hell I
mhm,
want to do. I still don't know what I want to do, but
right, right,
and she told me like recently, see, you just stayed there, didn't finish your study. If you have finished, you would now be working a regular job, and I was
yeah,
like, yeah, but I do not like that. I'm
yeah,
not
exactly, yeah,
into getting for profit.
yeah,
It was a very like businessman is very like, how can we make more money? And
mm,
I like money
mhm,
for buying stuff and
right,
stuff, but
right.
I'm not that materialistic at the same time. It doesn't like fulfill me.
Yeah, I'm not happy to sell
So
my soul for it, like to just cage myself. Yeah, it's an interesting. Like
yeah,
I
like
think this is a very complex conversation. I hope to be able to approach it more in my comedy, and maybe you should write about it as well. But it is one of the things at the end of the day that holds not only you but me and other kind of Romanian Europeans back because they just
when you watch like an American movie, and Hollywood movie, American, and then
yeah,
you see the parents like inspiring, like, yeah, you can do anything, whatever you set your mind up to. It's like so inspiring. Like, yeah, we didn't get it.
yeah. It's like
Okay.
it's funny, but you can be a cashier. You can definitely be a cashier. This I see it. You can definitely do it. You gotta set
No, but my mom is like, oh, if you don't study, if you don't, you'll end up working in a supermarket. That's
right,
like
right,
a
right,
bad
right.
thing.
That's a bad thing. Yeah, yeah,
Also.
exactly. All right. Well,
Like,
look,
it's like every time it was like, you will end up working in a supermarket. What the fuck is up with the supermarket?
yeah, that's the eternal fear. It's I guess that's what they quantify as. But again, like the idea is if you're working in a supermarket, if you're working in a day job, and you're doing the same thing, repetitive task that's not creative. It's a bad thing, right? It's just a different. It's a different prison, but it's more pretty or like less salami. I don't know. Okay, we gotta wrap it up because I gotta head out as well, like 11:30. But really appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me, share your story. I'll put this up, and hopefully it reaches some more
I
ears and
hope
makes.
I can help you with some jokes or something
You
with
definitely,
this
I think
stuff.
I've definitely gotten some stuff out of this, and I'll be able to kind of write some jokes inspired by your experience as well. And are you sure you don't want to plug an Instagram or something? If somebody sees this, and again,
So I don't even know what my name is on Instagram
I mean,
right now.
I can plug it for you because I can just basically
Yeah, I don't know if it's my whole name or
I'll tell you in a second.
I have like two TikToks uploaded, and it's like not
Okay.
that great.
Okay, so it's your full name. Do you want me to say your full name out loud? Do you have any privacy concerns or?
And I don't have nothing to
Okay,
hide,
okay,
so
okay. It's Andra Emanuela Nedelcu on
yeah,
Instagram.
like really Romanian
Exactly.
name.
Yeah, yeah. Nedelcu is a very Romanian name. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean the u at the end is like,
Nedelcu, yeah. Popescu, Ionescu, Nedelcu. Very strong.
and then Andra, Andra,
Yeah,
and then
also,
and then you have like Andra, and they like call me, oh, Andrea. It's like, no,
no,
it's
that's
not Andrea.
incorrect, my friend.
Anna, and then, no, it's Andra. And I figured out how to, say it, and it's
Right.
like it's Sandra without the S.
Ah, very smart. Okay, yeah. It's like for me,
Because
it's
I don't like Andrea because I've been mistaken for
right.
Andrea so many times. I hate that name.
For
But
me,
now,
it's
I
for
mean,
me,
I
it's
really hate it.
dragon, but with an S. Dragos. Is the way
Yeah,
that I
that's
do it.
very Romanian as well. Like your name is very,
It's very
very,
Romanian,
very.
very Romanian. Like I usually cut the sh out of it because it always fucks up all my documents because nobody can do the sh on the thing. So it's just Dragos.
And your
Okay.
last name is Christian or
No, it's not.
no?
It's something else. But I don't use it because it's even more complex. It's even more confusing.
It-
Um,
It's also very Romanian or
yeah, no, it's Jugula, but then again, it's just difficult to say. Um,
fuck.
okay, well, thanks a lot once again. I appreciate your time. I hope to, hopefully we have another chat in the future. Hopefully, when I come to Freiburg, you come to one of the shows, and
Yeah,
I'll definitely
I
try to
will.
be there once
I'll try to.
we kind of get rid of this pandemic. But I appreciate the time again. Thank you for sharing your story, and I look forward to uploading it for people to enjoy as well. So
Okay.
enjoy your
Thank
day,
you.
your work day, and
Yeah,
have a good
I
one.
will enjoy my acupuncture
Exactly.
needles in my back.
Perfect. Have fun. See you later.